What's going on, everybody? This is Clint with the Die Hard MMA podcast. This podcast was filmed exclusively for odds.com. Be sure to click the link below. Check it out. We've got everything that you need over there. We've got you covered for every sport. Thank you so much for the support and good luck on all your action this week. Kicking off the night, the one that I think almost everybody in the chat has been waiting for. A good thing we get to hit it early. My girl, Gillian Robertson, starting off the card, taking on Miranda the Maverick. And as my distinguished guest, I'll let you kick this one off, Matt. How do you like this matchup?
Look, I lean Robertson here. I am not the biggest fan of Miranda Maverick. I still think she's a little bit raw. I mean, she has unbelievable athleticism, but at 5'3", she's also going to have a lot of disadvantages in the octagon. Disadvantages that may not have completely shown themselves in her win over Liana Joju in her UFC debut. But Robertson, 5'5", been in there with much tougher competition. We're talking about, although she lost, somebody who's been in there with Tyler Santos, Macy Barber. She beat Courtney Casey, Paulina Botello. Gillian Robertson's tough. And both of these women have similar styles in that they're okay throwing down, but at the end of the day, their bread and butter, their meat and potatoes is the ground game. Mm-hmm. And Robertson's bigger, longer, stronger. I think Maverick may have a little bit of trouble here. I wouldn't be surprised if she comes out on fire. And we always talk about MMA is a different developmental process than boxing. And in boxing, you can have a 23-year-old superstar because they're only learning one discipline, boxing. In MMA, it's rare that you have 23-year-old superstars because there's so many disciplines to learn. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, defensive wrestling, Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing, that it usually takes people a little bit longer, a little more fights, a little bit more training camps to develop that diversified skill set that you really need to be an elite fighter. Gillian Robertson has paid her dues with a tough strength of schedule, and she's really getting better, I think, every fight. And I think she's a really live dog here around plus 150, and I lean toward Gillian Robertson.
So Matt, gotta tell you, I feel like you hit the nail on the head here, and this is a spot that I've already moved in on. Unfortunately, that plus 150 spot is long gone. I got plus 125, and I'm locking in Gillian Robertson. The chat is going to cry simp at me. Everybody is going to say, you swore no simp bets. Well, my friend, this is not a simp bet. You hit the nail on the head. Gillian Robertson has had a really, really up and down road. We've seen it. She struggles in the striking, but she's an absolute monster on the ground. And this will be the first time in a bit that she's going to have a size advantage. Now, Miranda Maverick lit the world on fire. She's coming in here 10-2, but let's not forget, she's only had one UFC fight. One UFC fight. And like you mentioned, that was against Liana Joju. Let me remind everybody, Liana Joju is also a grappler, and her best path to victory is the ground game. If you go back and you rewatch that fight, Joju was far more in that fight than she should have been, and never once did she try to take it to the ground. It was a one-round striking affair, and it got stopped due to a cut on her nose between rounds, a cut that she very easily could have continued fighting with, I might add. So yeah, Miranda Maverick has looked good, but like you mentioned, Gillian has fought the killers of the division, and she's coming off of a loss to Talia Santos. Her stock has never been lower. Everyone saw her get grinded on for 15 minutes. She doesn't look like anything that we're used to anymore. Talia Santos is huge, and Gillian Robertson is going to have a significant size advantage over Miranda Maverick. On top of that, I went back and I did the tape study on Miranda Maverick. She does not have the wrestling top game that Talia Santos does. She gives up transitions. She gives up bad positions, trying to chase ground and pound and trying to chase submissions. There's going to be an open window of opportunity for Gillian to out-scramble this girl on the floor. And if you can get out-scrambled by Gillian, you can get your neck snapped, you can get your arm snapped, and Gillian could also just be the bigger, stronger girl and might be able to grind out her own decision victory here. I love Gillian Robertson, and one of the things that I talked about at the beginning of 2021, Matt, is I'm going to try and fade the hype. That's exactly what I did last week. There were three big, nasty underdogs that I rolled the dice on because the world said their opponents should be the favorite when they just didn't deserve to be favorites. And that's what's happening here. Gillian shouldn't be the dog in this spot. She's earned more respect than this, and I'm going to take that plus 125.
And I think this is going to be a bit of a recurring theme here where we have the younger, more energetic fighter, more widely known fighter coming in and is likely to have success in the first round. Maverick starts, she's a whirlwind coming in there. She's a ball of energy coming out of the gate. But I think even if she gets takedowns in the first round, she's going to have to work so hard for them that she's going to get so tired that I think you could bet Robertson to win a decision here because I think by round 2, she's going to stem the tide and start pushing the pace herself, getting her own takedowns and winning the exchanges on the feet. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Robertson late sub late in round 2 or in round 3, or she just wins round 2 and round 3 and wins the fight on decision.
Yep. I completely agree. I think that Miranda Maverick may have a higher ceiling. She may be the better striker, but I think this is too much too soon. And I think that Gillian's going to be able to take her down a peg. I think it's going to be those last 2 rounds, just like you mentioned. Even if she loses the first one, it won't be time to panic or hit eject. She'll be able to take over once the fight kind of settles in a little bit. And yeah, I could absolutely see a 3rd round submission when Maverick was fighting that uphill battle against the bigger, stronger fighter for 10 full minutes and then just doesn't have the gas to do it anymore.
Yeah, and when you see Maverick by herself, you're going to go, wow, she looks really strong. That's the stronger fighter in this fight. Wait till you see them next to each other at the stare down. You're going to go, holy crap. Yep. Gillian Robertson is a lot bigger than Miranda Maverick. You may not know it looking at Maverick because she's really athletic. Wait till you see the two standing side by side. There will be no question who the bigger fighter is.
And don't forget, folks, we're in the apex. We're in the small cage. It favors the grapplers right now. So definitely on Gillian Robertson. I like this spot. Hoping to kick another card off with a winner and a plus line. So moving on to our next fight. First off, I want to shout out the chat. You guys are awesome. I see everybody hating on us in the chat. Miranda Maverick is the side everyone's calling it. That's just the way I like it, baby. I will go against the public perception, and I got no problem doing it. Have fun tonight, everybody. 223 people in the chat. Thank you all so much for spending your evening out with us here. And remember to smash that like button, subscribe here to odds.com.